Hi there and welcome back to Japan, where we're going to be talking about Love No Shirushi by Silent Siren. It's reaction and review time, guys. Now, as you probably know, if you've already seen this channel before, if you've seen us since we came back, we've had to slightly change things since our last channel closed down, which basically means I'm about to give you the review. If you want to see the reaction, click the link in the description below and it'll open up a separate player where you can watch that before I give you the review. Now, so just check. Have you seen the reaction? Pause this video. Have you seen the reaction? Have you seen the video? Are you ready for me to give you the review? Here comes the review now. Okay, hope you've seen the video. So, Love No Shirushi. It's very much in keeping in many ways with Silent Siren. It's very much a Silent Siren song. I like the fact it has a bit of a bounce to it. Actually, I've got to be honest, hashtag no bias. The keyboard was actually really good in this one. I think that she added a lot to this. I noticed that she has a bit of a habit. The original keyboard player has more of a habit for going slightly more bouncy keyboard lines than with Yukaran, who's now, the keyboard lines she does tend to be kind of more for filling out the song, giving it a little bit more thickness. She does do those bouncy lines occasionally, and she does do some riffs and things, but she seems to work more at sort of adding to the overall sound of the song. Whereas with this keyboard player, I always got the feeling that she tried to sort of she was more riff-based. She kind of put herself at the front and tried to give guitar riffs almost in exchange for Sue playing more of a rhythm role. So it kind of felt like she was like the lead guitarist. If it had been like a rock band like Bandmate, she would be the lead guitarist. That was more the feeling I got with the way she played. And in this case, that was what she was doing once again, but it did actually really work here. It gave a really bouncy, fun feel. It also worked brilliantly during that bridge where she was sort of doubling each note, sort of like a sort of moving around, pressing each note several times over. It gave a really nice feeling that everything felt kinetic, and yet at the same time, it still felt you're getting that long drawn out chord changes that the bridge was doing, but also getting the not so drawn out, but the longer chord changes along with held notes. It just sort of sounded good and bouncy at the same time. So yeah, credit the keyboard work on this was really good. Very apt, very much worked with the song. I liked the melody a lot as well. There was a real sort of nice feeling to this. It was, as with a lot of Silent Siren's earlier songs, it was catchy, not quite on the level of super catchy that they're at now, where they can basically create an earworm that will cause you to go insane, but it was still very catchy, and I think, up there with any of their peers at the time. I can see why this band has been drafted for a couple of record companies and moved up, because, they really are producing the goods when it comes to this kind of thing. Obviously I know they've got their own writers and everything, but you have to team up with the right people, and they've clearly been teaming up with the right people and doing a good job here. So them and their writers have been getting better and better with time, I think. So yeah, this song to me was it was really catchy, infectious. It just kind of worked. It was one where it's not got a massive wow factor. It's not one that you're going to write home about, but it worked in a very Silent Siren way. I just kind of enjoyed the whole feeling of this song very much. I particularly would give credit to Hina's drum lines were fantastic in this. She goes back and forth a little bit with that disco shuffle thing that I know. I always point that out when she does that. She does that disco shuffle thing a little bit in this song, but she does accent things really well, especially in the chorus. I love the fact that the chorus changed up a lot. Like Einyan's bass line was not the same throughout. It changed throughout the choruses, as did the drum line. The drum line didn't just stay static on one beat. It shifted up to accent the changes in the chorus, because the chorus had a couple of phases to it. There was a lot of feeling that they did a lot on that side. And this is actually one of the things I wanted to point out, because I think a lot of the time we often talk about sort of contrast. When you're looking at a very sort of poppy band, Silent Siren are a really good example to give. When you're looking at a very rocky band, we often talk about Bandmate. And I think they're really good comparisons to each other, apart from the fact that they're also friends. They are kind of a wonderful mirror to each other, in that one is the very rock version and one is the more pop version. But one thing that we always say, we always talk very much about Bandmate, the fantastic musicianship. I mean, Silent Siren as well, brilliant musicians. I think very much underplayed and very much underrated because of the fact they do pop. But they are fantastic musicians, fantastic what they do. Bandmate are the harder-edged one. So often we talk a lot more about their musicianship and just how great it is. And one of the things we mainly talk about is how good they are at flipping up the second verse of their song. So, each verse always sounds interesting and different. What I think often is undercredited, and really starting to notice it in this song as well as a lot of their more recent songs, is that Silent Siren have very, very interesting, intricate, sort of multi-phase choruses. Often their choruses, as poppy and light and infectious and easy to take in as they are, often have a lot of elements to them. It's not just sort of putting the sort of let's go round and round and just sing to a chord pattern. There are lots of shifts in their choruses very often, which make them very interesting and make them very easy for re-listenability. And I do think Silent Siren, if you enjoy their music, they're one of the easiest bands on re-listenability that you can imagine. If you like their sound, you'll be able to listen to their songs over and over again because they don't seem to get stuck in a rut so much. They don't have choruses that just do the same thing and loop round and round and round and round as so many choruses do. Yeah, there is repetition, but there's also a lot of changes in between each repetition. So if you understand what I'm saying with this, sorry, I know I'm waffling slightly. I do think that Silent Siren do know how to have a good crafted chorus that is not only catchy but also doesn't become irritating. It becomes something you can genuinely enjoy listening to over and over again. So this does show that. It shows that element very early on in their career. I personally, like I say, I wouldn't say this is like one of my favourite all-time Silent Siren songs. It definitely is a good listen though. It's a good poppy listen. Unfortunately, because it goes down that single route and because they've got so many singles now and because they've managed to perfect so many different types of pop already, unfortunately, it's kind of, looking at it in retrospect, it's kind of buried underneath the fact that they have lots of other songs of a similar tone that I would probably rather listen to. I mean, if you compare this to something like Lucky Girl, which is a very similar song tonally, I guess this is less energetic, this is more chilled than Lucky Girl, but I mean, this is a good, really good pop song. Lucky Girl is an amazingly good pop song. So you put them next to each other, and unfortunately, if you're asking me which one would I rather listen to, I think 9 times out of 10, unless I wanted a very chilled out version of Lucky Girl, I'd be more inclined to listen to Lucky Girl. So unfortunately, I think this is slightly bears the weight of the increased quality of a lot of their more recent work. It's still good though. If you're going to playlist some upbeat Silent Siren songs, this deserves to be on there. It's a good song to give you a little bit of variation and colour to your playlist, a bit of variation and colour to your listens. I think it's an enjoyable one. Like I say, it's got a lot of intricacy. I think that the keyboard player does a really good job in this. I think she actually, her position of being a little bit of a lead guitarist on keyboard, which is nothing wrong with that at all. That's a great thing to be. I mean, you've got to remember, keyboard, technically speaking, you can play it as fast, if not faster than a guitar. On top of that, you can choose your sounds more freely than you can on guitar, and plus you can play with 2 hands at once. So there's nothing wrong with having your lead guitarist be a keyboard player. I think just in this place, she did it fantastically, and without doing any solos or anything. It was just, she nicely enhanced it with a riff. She nicely sort of fell into the arrangement of the bridge and wonderfully complemented what was already going on. I just think this song works really well and gets the most out of the original Silent Siren arrangement and how they seem to balance songs at that time. Anyway, that's my opinion. As always, whether you know the group or not, I'm assuming if you've been following this channel, you know Silent Siren because we covered so many Silent Siren songs, especially before we were closed down on the first channel. Just if you know them or not, like I say, if you like and I get in the comments, we love to see the comments. That's what it's all about. Music is all objective and subjective, so I just really want to know what you guys think. And as always, if you want to give more comments, you can do that on our Reddit, which is a great place to suggest new songs for me to listen to in the song suggestion thread. And on top of that, we've also got our Discord, which you can suggest songs there as well, but that's mainly for discussion. We're talking 24/7 about music, so come and enjoy the discussion there. And on top of that, there's also my Facebook, there's my Twitter, all in there, and the Patreon, because thank you so much, Patreon guys. You keep this lot going, keep on saying it, keeps on being true. Anyway, thank you for following me all the way to the end of the video. I really enjoyed sharing this time with you, and I'm looking forward to speaking to you soon on the next video, or maybe on the Discord, or maybe in the comments. So until then, for now, ciao, ciao.